Shalom, Shabbat, Shalom. Thank you, everybody, for singing along.
We have another minute or two.
Another minute?
If you want to start, it's just looks like it'll come in a minute or so.
Oh. We can reprise.
Yeah.
Here we go. Let me see. You know it by now. La Yehudim Ken Tiye Lanu. Here we go. La Yehudim Haita Ora Haita Ora V'simcha v'sason v'ikar La Yehudim Haita Ora V'simcha v'sason v'ikar La Yehudim Haita Ora V'simcha v'sason v'ikar Ken Tiye Lanu Ken Tiye Lanu Tiye Lanu Tiye Lanu Ken Tiye Lanu Tiye Lanu Tiye Lanu.
Wonderful.
Fabulous.
Thank you, Cantor and Mike. How nice to have you, Mike. It's really good to see you. And what a nice way to come into Shabbat, to come into our room. One of the things I've really missed during the pandemic is the dribs and drabs of people coming in. We have it now, but we actually now have quite a bit of our congregation watching virtually and not being present, so I don't get to see their wonderful punim. And it's nice to at least have yours here, and if you're out there, we're sending lots of love your way. We know you're really important, and I can hear from comments that you make that you feel present here, which is kind of amazing. We just have a little tiny camera in the back that Harvey Horowitz, not Harvey Horowitz, what did I get his name right? Wrong completely there. What is it? Larry Horowitz. Oh, there you go. There's too many Horowitzes. Sorry. Larry, hi. He watches every week with Toby. But they had set it up, and we're really grateful, and we're grateful that we can have these kind of dual experiences. Why don't we take an opportunity now to take a deep breath. It's really important in our lives to have a breath. Life moves so quickly, and we have no idea what any next moment is going to be. And if we don't have Shabbat, if we don't reflect, have, as Abraham Joshua Heschel spoke about, an island of time, life just moves by in a blur. and we really don't have a chance to celebrate the things that deserve to be celebrated. Every week there is something somewhere, that's something that happened in our lives, in the lives of the world, and our friends and family and community, that should be celebrated. There are people that should be celebrated for the great actions and the way that they helped us and helped one another and showed an example. And of course, there are always things that we should just leave behind as soon as they come in. I'm reminded of what Rabbi Tannenbaum always spoke about. He talked about we need to have a great forgettery. And that is super important because inevitably we're human. Let's forgive ourselves for any mistakes, any misspoken words. Forgive each other. I know that's really hard when at all possible. It's not always possible. We take, again, a nice deep breath. We'll bring in everything we are holding on to and let go of those things that don't matter anymore. Wonderful. All right, so since Cantor was singing that song, and I think it's time, I'm sure Harvey Horowitz over here knows this, where is the verse that she was singing? Where is it located? In Havdalah. And what book is it located in? Yeah, it's a very important book, and the hint is some of the people in this room like to dress up on that holiday. It's from the book of Esther. I think it might be somewhere else as well, but we bring a little Esther always into Havdalah, and how nice to...
Esther 8:16.
8:16, yeah.
Whoever gets to chapter 8.
Well, I think 8 is okay. I think it's the 9th chapter that you should leave the room if we ever read it here. That's the... I don't know, HBO channel. What's that dragon show? I can't think of anything today. Game of Thrones. It's the Game of Thrones where there is a lot of blood. Thankfully, we don't actually see it there. All right, we are going to begin our service, and you might have noticed that we are missing a fixture, both in our greeter and as our welcomer, that Bruce Chorus is not here. He is actually in Dallas, and if he's watching, Bruce and Rella, we welcome you. We do miss you. Believe it or not, he has a very big birthday tomorrow, and he is celebrating with the whole family down in Dallas. I did hear he made it safely. The only hint about the birthday is it is not 56. But I will not go any further. But please, when he does come back next week, wish him a happy birthday. He's young and vibrant. I told him in Buffalo, it's like a 20-something, I think, here in Buffalo. All right, let's welcome in the Angels of Shabbat. I'm so glad that you're doing this, Cantor and Mike. Shalom Aleichem, which is on page 142.
Well, this is Shabbat, plain and simple.
But we actually sang this in our own home tonight. I didn't even look at what you were singing, and it was the first time I can remember in a while, and all the kids were singing, so I'm so happy.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Yimelech, Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Bachuni leShalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Yimelech HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Send Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Yom. Melech Malachei Malachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Come, the angels of Shabbat sit on our shoulders and provide us comfort and relief. Allow our soul to be present just as a soul. We get our second soul on Shabbat, and that is so we don't have to worry about our health. We're not supposed to worry about anything, just to have those angels feeling them on our shoulders. So one of the great joys of this week and of being a rabbi is we welcome people into the Jewish community. I've had a chance over the years to welcome probably close to 25 people. It's amazing, into Judaism over the years. And each time it is special because it means so much to the individual. And I've also noticed how much it means to our community. As Jews, we tend to think of ourselves as a shrinking community. And we can get people that are Jews into our community, or we could bring them from the outside. In some ways, it's nice when people come from the outside. They don't have all the baggage that some of us have from years and years of being part of community. And they end up being some of our leaders in our community over the years. It's really remarkable. So I was sitting at the parking lot of Mercy Hospital to support some of what is going on down there. And I left the little rally that was going on, and I went to my car, and that's where you can do a conversion in these today's world. It's quite amazing. Luckily, the person that was part of that, who is over here, Jennifer Dawn Dunkel-Perrick, I hope I got all this right. She thought that was cool. I told her one of the last ones I did was at a cemetery, so this was probably better. Joining us, by the way, it was Cantor was there in her own Zoom screen, and Joanne, and we form what's called the Beit Din. During this time, we can't quite go down to the mikveh, but we'll reserve that. That's in Rochester. We've been waiting till after a different point during the pandemic. But one of the drawbacks of Zoom is it's very hard to sign certificates. So I am lucky enough, thanks to Nancy McGorry in her office, to have the certificate of the event right over here. And myself and Cantor and Joanne have already signed, so we're going to have Jennifer sign right now. But let me read to you in English a little bit about what's presented. In the Hebrew, there's only a little bit of Hebrew here, but it does say Buffalo, New York. So just so you know. So this is what it says on the 19th day of October, corresponding to the 13th day of Cheshvan, 5782. According to the Hebrew calendar, Congregation Shir Shalom-ish in Williamsville, Jennifer Dawn Dunkel-Perrick entered the historic covenant between God and the people of Israel. She has made the following declaration. I make this affirmation as I enter the eternal covenant between God and the Jewish people. I choose to become a Jew on my own free will, motivated neither by fear or financial gain. I accept Judaism to the exclusion of all other religions, faiths, and practices, and now pledge my loyalty to Judaism and the Jewish people. I promise to establish a Jewish home and participate actively in the life of the synagogue and the Jewish community. I commit myself to pursue Torah and faithfully consider my Jewish practice. If I'm blessed with children, I will raise them as Jews in every respect. We'll fudge a little bit. Jennifer has a modern family with her kids already grown, going their own journeys in life, but I think we can accept this into it. And Jennifer picked a beautiful Hebrew name, Ayelet, which I believe has to do with the animals in Israel. And it is also the name of one of my favorite travel agencies in Israel. So if you go to Israel, you can use Ayelet. So I'm going to bring this down over here, and we're going to invite her good friend Jill Hamilton as well to light our candles afterwards. And we're going to have Jennifer sign her document. We have to Xerox it first before you leave so that we can send it to the archives in Cincinnati. And they keep a record of all of our conversions. Oh, come on over. Pen's right there. Mazel tov! Wonderful. And one of the things that Jennifer in particular, she was very conscientious. She was waiting for and there's been a several-year journey, and to light her candles. And so with Jill's help, she's going to light the candle. Page 120. Hopefully, we have matches. Okay, good. And again, the prayer itself is on 120, and Jill will be leading. Just in front of the microphone over there, Jill, just...
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Blessed be the candles that light our way into Shabbat. And you might have noticed the candle was little. I saw you looking at it. It was little tiny, and then it would look like maybe it's going to go out. And then it became a giant flame. The one on the right over here, it was a metaphor for entering into Judaism. I love it. Jennifer, can you just lift up the cup there? And Cantor is going to recite the Kiddush on page 123.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddishanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron le'maseh v'reshit ki hu yom techila le'mikra'ei kodesh zecher utzion mitzrayim kivaru v'charta v'yotanu kidashta mikomim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava u'v'ratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat.
Amen. L'chaim. Symbolically, you drink. We're going to invite Joanne. Why don't you come if you want to get the certificate over here, and then we'll get her the copy when you leave. We don't want you to leave without that. We are ready now to welcome the bride of Shabbat. We welcomed the angels. Now we're ready for the bride. And page 138, we have Lecha Dodi. We're going to sing the very first verse, and then we'll stand on the last verse facing the doorway, wherever doorway you have near you. And we bow as the Shabbat bride enters into the room, and then we wave to each other like this. On Facebook or YouTube, you can just write hello and Shabbat Shalom.
Lecha lecha dodi, lecha lecha kala, b'nei pnei Shabbat mikavela. Lecha lecha dodi, lecha lecha kala, b'nei pnei Shabbat mikavela. La 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 la. Lecha dodi, lecha lecha kala, b'nei pnei Shabbat mikavela. Lecha lecha dodi, lecha lecha kala, שמוע וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ותפארת ונתחילה, לה 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 לה, לך תודי, לקראת לכלכלה, פני פני שבת לקבלה, לך תודי, לקראת לכלכלה, פני פני שבת לקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובסעולה, תוך אמוני הכנסי כולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך לך דודי, לקראת לכלכלה, פני פני שבת לקבלה, לך לך דודי, לקראת לכלכלה, פני פני שבת לקבלה, לה 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 לה, לך דודי, לקראת לכלכלה, פני פני שבת לקבלה, לך לך דודי, לקראת לכלכלה, פני פני שבת
We remain standing for our call to prayer, page 146, the Baruch Hu.
La 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 la. Join with me. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Baruch et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. With me. La 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 la. La 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 la.
We remain standing for Ahavat Olam, page 150.
Ahavat olam beit Yisrael amcha ahavta Torah u'mitzvot chukim u'mishpatim otanu limadeta al ken Adonai Eloheinu v'shochveinu v'komeinu nasiach b'chukacha v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha u'b'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed ki הם hayenu ve'orech yomeinu u'vahem v'engeh yomam v'layla.
Baruch atah Adonai Ohev Amo Yisrael. Bless you, God, who loves us, loves your people Israel. Page 152, the Shema.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam
You may be seated. Page 154, the Via Hafta.
Adonai Elohecha, b'chol levavecha v'chol nafshecha, v'chol me'altecha, v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele, asher Anochi mitzvacha, hayom al levavcha, v'shinantam levanecha, v'dibartam bam, v'shivtecha b'veitecha, u'velachtecha v'derech, u'v'shochbecha u'v'kumbecha, u'kshartam le'ot hayadecha, v'hayu letotacha b'einecha, u'chtavta hamezuzot beitecha, u'vish'arecha, le'man tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai, v'yitem kedoshim le'Elohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem, asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, v'hiyot lachem Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem.
We're going to continue with the Mechamocha on 158. I have a question. It's listed as Friedman. Is that Debbie Friedman?
Yes, she wrote a couple of Mechamochas, but this is my favorite.
I was thinking not too long ago, right at this time of year, I feel like she died. And I remember it was the very first funeral I saw streamed, and had all the kids at Kadima. We watched it as a class. It was a beautiful funeral.
I think it was just the Yortzeit. It was just a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I remember it being right around this time of year. Incredible.
La 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 la. Sing with me. Ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 la. Ikamocha ba'elim Adonai, ikamocha neheda b'kodesh, norati lo hosefele, norati lo tosefele. Malechut kavra u'manecha, bokei hayam lifnei Moshe, ze'elianu ve'amaru. Adonai lo eolam ha'ev, Adonai lo eolam ha'ev. Here we go. Ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 la. La 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 la, ya la 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 la.
I never even realized that. All these years you put down Frida and I didn't know that. We're going to turn to... Yep.
We do this a lot lately.
Yeah.
I seem to that's my Mechamocha go-to.
Well, I didn't even realize it. I think when I came to Buffalo, I learned that one. And, her music, and I think it must be around her 10th yard site by now. I know that the kids I was teaching are like 24 years old. So it's been quite a while. Just for everyone, Jill Hampton was saying she was remembering we listened to her music on the week, and it was back when Temple Sinai and Temple Beth Am were different institutions. We are going to be going now to 161, and I'm very interested. Usually Cantor does the top melody with Paul, but so it'll sound a little different. It's like some musicians, you have different versions of the song, so I'm very interested in this one. Let There Be Love.
I need you to sing Let There Be Love. When I go into the Hebrew, you keep singing Let There Be Love and understanding. It's actually from a publication of music by Noah Aronson called The Left Hand Side of the Book. The Left Side of the Book is actually the name of the music publication. It was music written for the English artistic translations in our Mishkan Tefillah. You'll catch on if you don't know it. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Everyone, let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. You continue with that. Hashkevenu Adonai Eloheinu. Hashkevenu L'Shalom V'Hamidenu Shomrenu L'Chaim Ufrus Aleinu Sukkot Shalom Echad. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
We rise if you're able for the tefillah. It starts on 164 and goes through 180. And feel free to pray in the Hebrew or your English or just the prayers of your heart. Take a couple of minutes, and whenever you're ready, you may be seated. page 180.
Right before the pandemic, our ensemble, our band and I, we were working on a project. We had just started. It was a service of all spiritually driven music. It was called Oseh Shalom. Shalom. And I was collecting all this music that we've never been able to really perform. And I'm thinking we're getting to the point where we can start working on this service. And this is a song from the service. And it is borrowed from the spirituality of India and meditation, written by a group called Yofi Ya, Beautiful God. And so in that kind of raga type model, I sing one thing and you sing it after me. So if I sing, Oseh Shalom, Oseh Shalom, Oseh Shalom, Oseh Shalom, Oseh Shalom, Oseh Shalom. And it's meant to drive you ever upwards. And of course, if this was our real spirituality service, Oseh Shalom, we would be doing it over and over again, but we'll get a taste of it tonight, so I hope you will repeat after me. I'll do it for a little bit, and then after a while I'm going to leave that space blank for you to do it. Okay, here we go. Oseh Shalom, Oseh Shalom, Oseh Shalom, Oseh Shalom. 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 Shalom, Shalom. Shalom, Shalom. Shalom, Shalom. Shalom, Shalom.
It's beautiful. What is the musical tradition again that comes from?
I think it's like a raga, where you just you have like a theme and then it spins and spins and spins forward until you've kind of reached an elevated, level of consciousness.
It's incredible. It's amazing how many different musical traditions there are. I remember I was at Chautauqua and got to hear some more Eastern styles and how they play their instruments are so different.
Well, Mark Nightinger has been, I've actually rehearsed this with him, where he is playing an Indian instrument. I just forgot the name of it. Tambura? You sure?
A tambora, is that what it was called?
Yeah? The string thing, yeah. Okay. The drone. And it's a real treat. So when we get to this, which we'll work on it soon, he'll be playing that on there.
Wonderful. We got to see a little last week. There was some interesting instruments there last week. We are going to be turning to our hailing prayers on page 371. I was talking to a good friend, Gary Old Ross, who's a wonderful mystery writer in Buffalo. He had some leg surgery and struggling a little bit, so I'm sending prayers out to him. And also to Melania Puyas, who has her son in with her. She's doing okay, and I was hoping she'd even be here at services, so if you're out there, we're thinking about you, Melania. We're also thinking about Gail Ackerholt, Dr. Stan Bratton, Ebony Burse, Noah Camacho, Karen Cooper, Peggy DeLong, Arthur Dezelke, Sue Frank, Charles Garfinkel, Michael Getting, Irene Green, Reed Hefner, Nancy Hersbrunn, Paula Jones, Barbara Lamb, Gail Lewis, Gwen Lowinger, Larry Max, Jean McGarry, Helene Mesh, Ryan McGowan, Jennifer Millich, Cheryl Pratt, Mary Rumez, Charlene Ripsick, Mimi Shapiro, Don Sherman, Mike Siepel, Rosemary Varner, Fred Vanette, Meg Wagner, Anita Weisel, Jeffrey Winnick, Mark Yablin, Elizabeth Cheesy Yeager, Christine Zalowiski, Hannah Ezra Ben Shuel. And if there's other names you'd like to say?
Roger Marchione.
We take all those names into our hearts as we pray for healing for them. 371.
Mi shebera havotenu mikol hambracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us sing Amen. Mishevera imavotenu mikol habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Complete healing of body and soul. We send our prayers out to all those here in our room and to our extended family and community. May they be heard, and may those individuals, including those among us, be comforted with the prayer. Shabbat Shalom. So I'm going to begin with a question. If you were to visit a new country, community, city, what is the number one factor you would look for in determining whether it is a good place to move to? What do you think? Sports teams. I love it. Do they have a? That's one of the reasons we fight so hard for the Bills. Do they have a sports team? Other things. Safety. Is it a safe place to live? I remember when I moved from West Philadelphia, And Mount Airy, there were some gangs, and I remember looking. I don't know if Cantor said the same thing. It said Amherst is the third safest small city in the country. Good weather. Yeah, we have a lot of people here that like to move to good weather. Yeah. Good schools. The two things. So first, good schools, which that is also something that the Temple Sinai folks said. There's great schools here, and we have really agreed wholeheartedly. We have wonderful schools here. And the camaraderie, I think you were saying as well. We're going to get to that one. What other? So Jewishly, this is a really important question. What is the Jewish community like? Are there shuls? Is it affordable? Yeah. Ding, 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 Buffalo. Mm-hmm.
Used to be.
Yeah, not this year. Yeah. Groups that you can join. What are the socializing? I saw the list of things in the villages in Florida, and there are a lot of things to do there. I knew that. So we have a whole variety of things. For the rabbis, it was very easy. There is only one thing, one single thing, and it's sort of to what Dr. Fine was talking about here, how people are interacting with each other, what we call hachnasat orchim, welcoming guests. Does your community chase away guests, or does it bring them in? We're in this period in our community where we're about to welcome something, I think it's actually, they said 1,000. I think that's what I heard at the Federation call. I think 1,000 people from Afghanistan into our community. And the excitement level from the Jewish community and the extended community to go out of our way, the amount of donations. Our Jewish community alone is hoping to raise $100,000. I heard from Rob, they're hoping to raise, and they expect to raise $100,000 to really welcome them in. Not just because, the poor Afghans, because this is who we are. When we welcome people in, we show what kind of community we are. This week's Torah portion, Vayera, is at the apex of it. This is the center of Jewish values in the very first two stories of this week's portion. First, the good version, and second, the bad version. I love it. I call the bad version the Berenstein Bears version from those artists from Rochester, who always, the dad was always messing up. You learned by the mistakes. So we have these two central pieces, and these are really central to our whole entire value system. And these stories are actually, as I was reading it through it, linked, specifically linked. The first story is the story of the angels visiting Abraham and Sarah. They come in the distance. Abraham and Sarah are by themselves, just with their family, completely exposed in the middle of what was then a wilderness of Beersheba. Nowadays, Beersheba is not a wilderness, but back then it was very much a wilderness. Strangers could be very dangerous, but they didn't run away from them. We know Abraham immediately runs towards them. So Abraham runs towards them, prepares a meal. Sarah and Abraham give them everything they have, and not expecting anything in return, and they receive a great gift, which is this prophecy that Sarah will give birth as a 90-year-old. So regardless of what we think of the actuality, I don't think it's quite possible yet, maybe in the future, but it was a very important moment, and it is the gift for their hachnasat orchim, for their welcoming of strangers. Meanwhile, these angels, these mysterious figures, walk in another direction, which would be north of Beersheba, to the area of the Dead Sea, and what they imagine these communities back then. We don't know how big they were. We learned in our study group there were actually a couple more of them, but the main cities are Sodom and Gomorrah. And these cities were the cities where there is no hospitality at all. We don't learn a great deal about them, but we see that Lot, Abraham has a reason. He follows along with the angels because he has his nephew there. So he wants to go see his family. And he finds out his family is living in a very dangerous condition where they are threatened all the time. And Abraham actually goes out of his way. He doesn't even know these people and fights to keep them alive. It says that God has to wonder, should God reveal that God is going to destroy these cities or not? And God decides, yes, I have to tell Abraham. And Abraham says, what if there's 100 people? What if there's 80 people? And all the way down to a minion, to 10. And there isn't even a minion. And so we know what happens. It turns to salt. And if you've actually been there how many of you have been to the Masada Dead Sea area? Probably quite a bit. I've actually camped out there, and it's this amazing salt everywhere. And they noticed it back then. I doubt that there was ever cities there, but they wanted to explain the geography. And the rabbis ask, what really? Because in the Talmud, they love to ask. This has actually come from Breshit Rabbah, the extra biblical texts about Breshit. And they ask the question, what really was the sin of Sodom? We see a very small story where they're trying to take Lot's family out and hurt them, but we actually don't see the whole picture. What really was so bad? So they start telling these stories, and each one is worse than the rest. I'm going to just share one because you really don't want to hear. One of them involves honey and bees, and it's just terrible. But they share a story about two girls that are by a well, and they're filling up water for their family. One of them says that her family has no foods. Their crops had failed that year, and they were going to starve to death. The other girl goes home and feels so badly. She goes and fills her pitchers or her containers with flour, and she gives them to the girl. A very heartwarming story. But the word gets out about what she did, and the people of Sodom and Gomorrah kill the girl who was so generous and so hospitable. And that is the reason why they are so bad. When we think about our societies and what we're trying to do, we often don't realize how important our individual reactions and interactions are. Think about when we think about a synagogue. It was always back in the day when I was interviewing for Double Sinai, every synagogue I ever looked at, it said, we are a welcoming congregation. Now, regardless if they actually were, but they said that because that is so central. And they wanted to feel like that. They wanted to be in that way, and for good reason. We actually include the message of what it means to be welcoming in many different rituals. We just had Sukkot, our booths. We have those booths, so that we can welcome people in. During a wedding ceremony, I always tell the couple there that we have it open on all four sides, just like the tent of Abraham and Sarah, so that you should know that the people out there are part and connected to you. They can help you, and you can help them. And you shouldn't, even though we stay in our own little confines, you shouldn't run away. You should be there. I heard this brilliant message from this minister here, evangelical minister, I forgot his name, a very tall guy. And he spoke with a booming voice at a network of religious communities events. And he was from Philadelphia, like I am. And he said, in Philadelphia, we have stoops. And if you've been to Philadelphia, they have row houses. They have stoops in front, and people gather in those stoops. And he said he came to Buffalo, and you know what they have? They have backyards. And everything faces in, not out. And so that minister said, I'm going to build a stoop in my front. And if we're going to do interfaith dialogue, we need that in the front. What a wonderful message, and what a wonderful parsha. Just remember, when you're looking, don't just look for the bills, or the sports team, look for how nice and kind they are to each other. So we'll take all that in, and we are ready. Let's see, I think you have, we're ready for Aleinu. Okay, so I invite you to rise, page 586, as we pray. It is not enough just to pray, we need to go and do good deeds in this world. Page 591. One day, God's name and all of us will be one, and we will be united in peace. You may be seated. I forgot to tell you, I wore my tie here. This is one of those kids Save the Children ties. And I wore it because it looked like Abraham and Sarah's vision. And children, they drew these pictures of all these smiling different professions all next to each other with all different races and ethnicities. And it just reminded me so much of a welcoming society. We're going to turn now to Mourner's Kaddish. And I know we have a number of people here for yard sites. And let me just, I remember. I have from Walter's family here, Eleanor's name. Okay. We are remembering Eric Weiner, the brother-in-law of Mike Steckloff. Those of you that don't know Mike is, I don't even know what his position at the Federation. It's in the CGL. He was kind of working in youth. Now Ben Wolfson is underneath him, but he works with doing a lot of the programming with Nickel City Jews and our teenagers, and he's done a wonderful job. His brother-in-law, at 32 years old, just married, died. He had a horrific disease. It's just a terrible tragedy. And Mike is with his family in Rochester, so we send a lot of prayers to him. I also want to mention Avi Sturman. That's a name from the Beth Tzedek community. He is the best fundraiser I ever met. You cannot say no, and he died, I think he was 94 years old. It's a big loss for our whole Buffalo community. We are also remembering on Shloshim Laura Hess, that's the aunt of Beth Rosner Q, Robert Caton, the brother of Rich Caton, Peter Q, the father of Tony Q, Doris Sirota, who's the wife of Harvey Sirota, Sheldon Macon, Yvonne Stocker, William Truhant, and Mindy Weinman. On our yard site list, yeah, he said it. On our yard site list from years past, we are remembering Herbert L. Barth, Robert Burkow. I believe this is the first anniversary for Jill's father. Seymour Berger, Rosalie Blatt, S. Stephen Block, David Brown, G. Brown, Louis Bunis, Samuel Chutkow, Janice Cohen, Teresa Baum-Deutsch, John S. Fine, Samuel Galperin, Dora Geller, Edward Glazer. I'm just seeing where it lands. Eleanor Gordon, somewhere around there. Elliot Goldman, almost missed, got it. Bernard Green, Florence J. Haber, Lois Hale, Eugene Bernard Heller, Anna Hirsch, Daniel Seth Holman, Marianne Tasman Klein, Anita Bernstein Lannard, Linda Landsman, David Levitas, Morton Levy, Gertie Oberlander, Rika Oberlander, Sigmund Oberlander, Leonard Pleskow. We're so grateful the family's here for that. Sarah Pliss, Dora Price, Arthur Reichand, Richard Russlander, Bertha Shapiro, Helen J. Silver, Sylvia Sitton, Dr. Barnett Slepian, Rebecca Snitzer, Stephen E. Sweet, Cecilia Tannenbaum, Rose Unher, and David Wagner. If you have other names, feel free to raise your hand. And I'll invite all those whose custom it is to rise. The Mourner's Kaddish is on page 598. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah bi'alma divra chirate v'yamlik malchute b'chayechon v'yamachon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael b'agala v'bizman kariv v'yimru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevorach le'olam olmei almaya yitvarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei d'kudashah b'rechu Le'alamin kol berchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, damiran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlomer rabba min shemaya, chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imramav, huya says shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. May God grant comfort to the bereaved and all the grieving among us, and peace to our world. And we say amen. You may be seated. Zikron nam livracha. May their memories always be for a blessing. Joanne Marcusy, our executive director, is going to be offering the announcements. And don't expect her to be like Bruce, but she does write the announcements, so she knows that.
Well, first of all, Shabbat Shalom. We'd like to wish Bruce Corris a very healthy and happy birthday, which is tomorrow. And he went to visit his family to celebrate. Mazel tov to Jennifer Perrick on her conversion this week. Welcome to our Shir Shalom family. Very special thank you to Rabbi Alex, Cantor Frank, Mike Frank for a lovely service in honor of Shabbat, and I love the drum. We'd like to thank our ushers tonight, Marcia Bougie and Jackie Taylor. And also would like to thank everyone who RSVP'd. I know sometimes it's difficult to always remember, but it does help us have the proper amount of service leaflets and Onik to go and sometimes chairs. So thank you. And on Tuesday, Shavuos is back from 4 to 7. You can pre-order on our website and save $1 per meal, or you can just drive up and order on Tuesday. And our rummage sale is on Sunday, and everyone has been working very hard. Thank you for all your donations and volunteering. It begins at 9:30 and goes until 1:30, and the bag sale is from 12 to 1:30. If you have any questions, Julia Cohan is here tonight, and she has all of the answers. And the women of Shir Shalom are also having another Becker Farms fundraiser, selling pies, cookies, fudge, and jam. It's all homemade. And it was great, so don't miss out. Delivery is right before Thanksgiving, and the deadline for ordering is November 1st. Next Friday, we will be back here in our sanctuary at 7 p.m. for Erev Shabbat service. And we continue to evaluate the pandemic on an ongoing basis to keep everyone as safe as possible. If you need anything, feel free to reach out to Rabbi Alex, Cantor Frank, Todd, Bruce, or myself. We're here for you. Shabbat Shalom. Please help yourself to something from Onik to go and come and shop with us on Sunday. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Joanne. Next Saturday at 5 o'clock, there is an amazing bar mitzvah. It's a family, both the parents are from the USSR, and this is the very first Simcha Jewish event that's really been allowed in the extended family since the grandmother in the Nazi ghetto had a chuppah. So it's remarkable. It just, when I heard the story this week, and there's apparently a love story involved, I told the child, Levi is his name, that his story was very remarkable. He should write it down, and he can use it for his college stories. And we're very lucky. It's not a normal story that we have every week. Not every bar mitzvah is amazing and spectacular, but sometimes you come across ones like this that it just means so much that the family fought for Lador Vador to make from generation to generation. Okay, so we are ready we have a final hymn. I got Peace Like a River, and if it's possible, Jennifer and Jill, if you could just raise up the challah when we're ready, and if you so choose. Oh, you're gluten-free, aren't you, or no? Okay. No, Jill isn't, though. Okay, you get the challah.
But you're dairy-free, right? Yeah.
I think it's dairy-free one. That's a part one.
So this is not in our Sidurim, but I've been singing it every summer for a few years. So you guys have heard it. And the verses go, the verses go, I've got peace like a river. I got peace like a river. I got peace like a river in my soul. Next verse. I got love like an ocean. I got love like an ocean. I got love like an ocean in my soul. Third verse. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I got joy like a fountain in my soul. You know the song? Here we go. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. Peace like a river in my soul. You got it. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I got joy like a fountain in my soul. To the top. I got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I got peace like a river in my soul.
All right, Jennifer and Jill, why don't you come up here? Hold up that challah that unfortunately not all of us can eat. Jennifer was telling me she's hoping to have a gluten-free one, and she's a wonderful baker, I understand too. And you can take off the challah cover so we can see the actual, oh, beautiful. It's still a high holiday one, yeah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. As you came in peace, may you leave in peace. Shabbat shalom. We're going to turn our prayer books over there, sneak into the rummage a little bit. And there's the oneg to go that's out over there. Shabbat shalom.
I got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I got peace peace like a river in my soul. I got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy